Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. If you like puzzles or if you'd like to see me struggle to solve one and have a laugh at my expense, then you're at the right address. So please like and subscribe. Today I'm going to be trying my hand at WTXV by BremSter. If you'd like to give it a go, there will be a link in the description. If you do, please let me know how you fared and what you thought of it. And we are continuing in the Sudokétudes set 9. So if you'd like to start from the start, look up the first video on the channel and start from there. Right, let's read the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 to 9 in each row, column, and box without repetition. 1 to 9 in every row, column, and box. Ambiguous XV pairs. Digits separated by a gray square must sum to either 5 or 10. Why is that called ambiguous XV pairs? Because usually X and V are used to designate cells that sum up to 10 if it's an X or 5 if it's a V. Right, that's it. A sip of tea. Reset the time. And we're going to start by looking at those that we can see, as in see what the options are, right? For instance, this is a 1, so it could be, if it's adding up to 5, then this would have to be 4, and if it's adding up to 10, then this would have to be 9. On the other side, the 3 would require either a 2 or a 7. The 4 would require a 6 or a 1. Again, 2 or 7. The 2 would require a 3 or an 8. However, we already have an 8 in column 4, so this can't be 8, and it has to be 3. So we're off. We get our first digit. It's a 3. And does it help us? Well, it doesn't fix those, but we'll see. Let's look at this 4 now. The 4 would need a 1 to add up to 5, but there's already 1 in box 8. So this has to add up to 10, and this would be a 6. Anything else? Well, we do have these, but we can't, there are too many options, right, if we don't have any single digit in. So let's go back to looking at the digits themselves. So 1, this tells us that there's definitely a 1 here. Right, since we can't have 1s in rows 1 and 2 anymore, and we can't have 1 in column 4. Anything else that's interesting? Doesn't look like it. Right, how about 2? We only have 1, 2, so probably not. 3? Yeah, where is 3 in box number 2? Well, it's not in columns 4 and 5, since these already have a 3. It's not in row 2, since that one has a 3. These are already filled. So it has to be here. And now we see that we've eliminated all the 1s except for one place. So this one has to be 1. And this adds up to 5. Right. Any more 3s? Well, this is not 2. This is 3. Any more 3s? Well, where's 3 in box 1? It has to be in one of those 2. Anything else? That looks like it for now. Okay. There is a peculiarity for XV pairs, is that they can never have 5 on them, right? Because 5, well, it already adds up to 5, so we can't have 0. And it can't add up to 10, since it would require two 5s, and that's not allowed, right, under normal Sudoku rules. So we have to keep that in mind. What about 4? Where's 4 in box 8? Well, it's not in column 5, so that leaves us with these 2 possibilities. Now we know where 4 is in column 7. It's in one of those 2, so it can't be in column 7, in row 7, in box 7, and it's not either in row 8, so one of these have to be 4 as well. Right. 5? Where is 5 in box 8? Well, it's not in any of these, right? Because of these 5s and the others are filled. So it's one of those two. Any other interesting places for 5? It doesn't look like it. 6? It's in one of these positions in box 9. And in box 5, it's not in any of these because of these two 6s. So it has to be there, which gives us more info about where it is in box number 2. It's not in any of these anymore, and it has to be one of those two. Right, another sip of tea. Seven. We only have one 7, so it doesn't look like it's gonna give us a lot of options. 8. Right, where is 8 in box 5? It's not in any of these, right? Because of these two 8s, so it has to be one of those. So now we can look at box 8 and see that it's not in any of these anymore. And one of these two has to be an 8. Okay. 9 can't be very interesting since we only have one. Okay. Nice. So what's going to happen here? Well, I guess we're going to have to look at those ambiguous XV squares and see if we can narrow them down a bit, right? I see, for instance, that we can't have 3 in this one, right? Or we can't have 6 and 8. So this could be 1, 4. Well, it can't because there is no place for 4 either. So it can't be 1, 4. It can't be 2, 3 either because there are no 3s here, right? There are no 4s and no 3s. So this is not 5. This is definitely adds up to 10. Right, so let's go through the options. It's not 4, 6 because we can't use another 6. It's not 3, 7 because we can't use a 3. It's not 2, 8 because, well, the 8 is gone. So it has to be 1, 9. This one can't be 9, so this one is 1 and that one is 9. Okay, what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? Well, it's not 1, 9. It's not 6, 4. It's not 2, 8, but it could be 3, 7, right? If it's adding up to 10, it could be 3, 7. So this would have to be 3 in box 4 and the 7 in box 5, since we can't have 3 here. Right, and if it's adding up to 5, then it can't be 1, 4, since the 1 is gone anyway. Well, and in the row as well. So it has to be 2, 3, and that is still possible, but we still would need a 3 in row 5, column 3, so in box number 4, and this would have to be 2, which is possible. So in all cases, we need a 3 in this cell, and this becomes a 3. This isn't a 3, that's a 3. Right. Does that give us more 3s? Well, it gives us the 3 in box 7, since these can't be 3 anymore because of these 3s. This one is already filled, so this has to be a 3. Now, if we look at box 9, we have a similar pattern, and this has to be the last 3. Now, since we have all but 1, we definitely should be able to get it in box 6. Those can't be 3 because we already have these 3s, and this is the last 3 in the puzzle, and that deserves a sip of tea. Right. Is it worth looking at these? Could be. Not sure, but it could be. Let's see if we can pencil mark them, and if that makes sense or not. If this adds up to 5, it can't be 3, 2, because this one can't be 3 or 2. Well, we can't have 3 in the column either. So it would have to be 1, 4, but that's allowed. Okay, and if it's 10, it could be 1, 9. It can't be 2, 8. It can't be 3, 7. But it can be 4, 6 as well, right? Maybe this is not as useful. Maybe this is not as useful. Okay. Any other ones that could be useful for now? Not sure. I am not sure. Okay. Okay. We had all the 3s. Oh, where is 4? In box 2. Well, those can't be 4 because of this 4. We can't have 4 in any of these. So one of these two has to be 4, which is great because that eliminates 4 in the column. Because in column 4, one of these is 4. So we can't have another 4 in this column. This isn't 4 anymore, which means that this has to be 4 in box 8. Right. Okay. Okay. Anything else? What about row 5? It seems to be almost, well, it's not almost filled, but there aren't lots of options in there. So can we narrow it down to anything? We already have 2 or 7. Well, 2. Can we have 2 in other places? Yeah, unfortunately, yes. 3 is already there. 4. We need 4 in one of these 2 places. Sure, but yeah, that's 2 places. 5. 5 has to be in one of these 2. Okay. And 7 could be anywhere, unfortunately. So no. What about row 1? Why do I keep on calling these columns? I have no idea. Right, where's 2? Multiple places. 4. Again, multiple places. 6. Even more places. Okay. No, none of that is helping. None of that is helping. Where is 9 in box 5? I think box 5 is quite interesting now. Because these can't be 9, right? These can't be 9 because of this 9 and that 9. Those are already filled, right? So we need a 9 in one of those. And again, now we have 2 cells with only 2 possibilities. So these have to be from 6, 9, and nothing else is allowed here anymore, because we do need a 9 and we do need a 6. But now we have a 9 in column 4, a certain 9 in one of those 2. So this one can't be 9. This is a 4. Right. And 9 in box number 2 can't be in any of these anymore. So one of those would have to be 9. So we get 6, 9. And the last one has to be from 2, 7. Right. So now if we look at column number 4, we see that we're still missing 5 and can only be in a single place. So that has to be 5. This isn't 5. And that means not much yet, right? Well, one of these 2 has to be 5 in box 7, right? Because these can't be 5. We already have 5 in rows 7 and 9, so one of these is 5. Anything else? That's interesting. Where's 5 in column number 8? I did mention that, and then I forgot about it. That we can't, well, those 3 can't be 5, right? Because we already have 5 in box number 9. But this one can't be 5 because we can't have 5 on a ambiguous XV. right? Whether it's an X or a V, you can't have 5. We already discussed that. Those two aren't 5 for the same reason. This isn't a 5. So we end up with only one available place in column number 8 for a 5. Right. Now if we look at box 1, these aren't 5. This one isn't 5 either, so one of these has to be 5. And in box 6, these aren't 5, so one of these two has to be 5. Okay. Where's 5 in box 5? It's not in any of these, right? So this has to be 5. This has to be 5. That's getting interesting. So we're still missing the 2 and the 7. And we're missing a 4, which unfortunately still could be anywhere. Okay. All right. What are we missing here? 8, 2, and 7. Same here. We have to disambiguate the 2, 7 somehow. We'll get there with a sip of tea. Where should I look next? Are those now interesting or more interesting? I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. This could be 1, 4. Okay. If it's 5, it can't be 2, 3, right? Okay. And if it's 8, then it's not 3, 7, it's not 6, 4, but it could be 1, 9, and it could be 2, 8, right? So maybe it's not all that interesting. Hold on. It is interesting, but only because it led me to look at the 7, because we can't have 3, 7 in any of these, right? So we can't have 7 here, and we can't have 7 in this cell either, because we already have a 7. So where is 7 in, again, column 8? It's there. It's there, right? So we need a 4 still. Okay, but one of them could be 4, 1 still, right? Yeah. Right. Okay. We can do the same in column number 2, right? Where is 5 to start with? These aren't 5. This one isn't 5. Neither are these. And this one isn't 5. So this has to be a 5. Then can we look at? No, we can't, right? Okay, where is 7? Well, again, we can't have 7 here. We can't have 7 on any of those because there's no 7, 3. So we end up with last place for a 7, and it's there. Well, this isn't a 4 for a while now, I guess. This becomes a 4. This becomes a 4. Right, so where's 4 in box 1? It's not in any of these. So one of these two has to be a 4. Which means that in box number 3, these can't be 4 anymore. And we only have one place, so we fill it in. In box number 6, these aren't 4 anymore. So we have a 4 here somewhere. Right. Right. We definitely need a 1 here. Yeah, because this isn't 6 either. So this is either 1, 4 or 1, 9, isn't it? But 1, 9 could be in either. So there's definitely a 1 here. I'm not sure how that helps. Maybe this pencil marking wasn't the brightest idea, but it's done now. Right. What am I missing in row 1? I'm missing a 2. And now I see that this isn't a 2. and this isn't a 2, so this has to be a 2. Did that help? Yeah, where's 2 now? In box 9. Well, all of these can't be 2 because of these 2's. So one of these has to be a 2. Now we know where 2 is in row 7. It's in one of these 2, and this has to be a 7. Brilliant. This has to be a 7. So where's 2 then? In box 8. It's not there, so this has to be a 2. This has to be an 8. And the last missing digit in row 9 is an 8. Now we're still missing an 8 in box 7 as well. That has to be there. And this is from 1, 9 as well. So is this one. However, we can't have 1 in this cell as we already have a 1 in the column. So that's a 9. That's 1. That's a 9. Which means that that's a 1. So far, so good. So far, so good. Right, so what could this be now? It's not 2, 3, or 4, 1, so that's out of the question. But it's not 1, 9, 2, 8, or 3, 7 either, so it has to be a 4, 6. That becomes a 4, and that becomes a 6, and that's not 4 anymore. That's 9, that's 6. And the last missing digit in column number 2 is a 2. This becomes a 7, this becomes a 2, 7, and we're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. Right. Right, so there's still a 1 in one of these, right? That didn't, did that help? Well, this can't be 1, 4, and it can't be 2, 3. So this doesn't add up to 5. It has to add up to 10. Okay, 6, 4 is gone. 7, 3 is gone. It's either 1, 9. 1, 9 is it's not possible because we can't have 9 in either of these. So this has to be a 2, 8. Okay, so this isn't 1 anymore. This has to be 1. And if that's 1, then that's a 6. That's a 2. Well, it was obvious because we didn't have 8, but still. That helps. The last missing digit in box 4 is 5 is 2. So where is 2 now in box number 6? It's not in any of these. And this would have to be 2, which makes this one a 4. And the last 2 are a 1, 9, aren't they? Yeah, so that's 1, that's 9. We have all the 1s. Okay. And in box 6, I'm still missing next to the 5 a 7, which unfortunately can be in both places still. Right, what am I missing in column 7 then? No, not a 9, luckily. A 6. A 6. All right, so that eliminates 6 from all these places in box number 1, and that's the last place where we can have a 6. So that's 9. That's a 6. Now we have all the 6s. Yeah. What am I still missing in box 3? I'm missing an 8 and a 7. So resolved 7 and 8, which means that here I still need a 9 and 5 and 8. So this has to be an 8. This has to be a 5 because of this 8. And here we're still missing a 4. All right, so let's pencil mark the rest. What are we still missing? I'm missing a 2. All right, so this has to be a 2 in column 1, and a 5. Right, that's great because it resolves these 5, 7, and I still need a 7 and a 9. Right, moment of truth. Yay! Yeah, very nice. Well, I hope that you enjoyed it as well. If you did, please like and subscribe, maybe share. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.